Mr. President, I rise today in defense of the Senate as an institution that has stood firm and steadfast, independent and united, and loyal to the Constitution and to the Filipino people. Throughout our history, Mr. President, even prior to World War II, when our countrymen have looked for ways to uphold the principles of our Constitution and to solve their problems, even during desperate moments, many times they have turned to the Senate, the Philippine Senate. Noong World War II po, Mr. President, napakaraming senador ang kinulong, meron pa hong na-execute si Senator Jose Ozamis. We are now confronted with what perhaps is the most challenging chapter in contemporary Philippine history. COVID-19 continues to cripple the world in ways that seem unimaginable, yet are now painfully unfolding before our very eyes. Even economies of the world perceived to be strong and stable have been shaken by this disease. COVID-19's aftermath is a reality to be feared as well. Amidst this chaos, Mr. President, habang tayo po ay naka-quarantine, there are those who still manage to malign the integrity and commitment of the Philippine Senate in advancing the country and the people's ultimate good. The Senate has been accused of doing nothing, of failing to rise and serve the people at a time when they needed their leaders the most. Such statements, Mr. President, are unjust and disheartening. If I alone had been the target of these attacks, Mr. President, I should have not taken a moment of the Senate's valuable time today. But I believe that other senators who have been unjustly and willfully assailed hold the same attitude upon this that I do. The reckless provocations, fake news, most often for pettiest and personal reasons, reasons not having to do whatsoever with the role of a senator in the current coronavirus crisis, should not be regarded as new normal, Mr. President. We should never allow the purveyors of fake news and vested interests to desecrate the Senate as an institution. Mr. President, this Philippine Senate holds the distinction of remaining open with our adoption of the hybrid proceedings by virtue of Senate Resolution 372. While with all due respect, Mr. President, other legislatures in other countries such as China, Madagascar, Czech Republic, Malaysia, and Mexico have remained closed, Mr. President. I rise today in recognition of the efforts and sacrifices made by our colleagues here in the midst of this pandemic. 3 of our colleagues were affected by the coronavirus. 20 of our staff members were likewise tested positive the other day, Mr. President. Lastly, I rise today to give a highlight of the accomplishments of our colleagues here, Mr. President, starting with the landmark measure that laid down the framework for the recovery and rehabilitation of the country. We started, Mr. President, last February 4, 2020, when we held a health committee hearing to tackle the coronavirus. Thereafter, Mr. President, on March 23, 2020, we adopted the Bayanihan to Heal as One Act, Republic Act 11469.